Good morning, everyone. Sorry for another late start. I think going between two studios is really starting to get to me. Don't know anymore where my glue is, if it's here or there, or this morning, I think I was running in between. Sometimes I'll need my computer over where I create, and sometimes I need it over here where I'm filming, and I'm just like running back and forth, and it's just super crazy. But the good news is that we are getting closer to wrapping up the renovation, and pretty soon I think I'll be able to move back all the way back into my old studio. We are painting is starting tomorrow, and I think most of the really loud stuff is almost getting to be finished. I just have to think about what still needs to get done, and if I feel like I can move back over, that will be ideal. But you didn't come here to listen to me about running back and forth, although it is good exercise. Today is Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. So let's take a look at what today's card looks like. Move my head over here. Here is the card. I think this is a pretty easy layout. I'm going to show you how to do that little banner piece. It's not hard. I'll show you a little trick how to do that. And then you take a rectangle shape and then a circle shape, and you put a little word banner across it. I think this is a really useful layout, definitely one that I would do over and over again. So let's have a look at the sketch here. Now this particular, wait a minute, I'm looking, here we go. This particular sketch, when we went to go measure it, it is actually a note card size. So today when I talk about dimensions, I'm going to be treating it as a regular size card. So if you want to follow along what my measurements are, I have to go back in and put in all the dimensions that I used for my card in my blog post. So I haven't done that yet. I'm going to go back and edit that so you can see what a regular card dimension would be. But Yolanda, who does the sketches for us, she put a little piece of grid paper, I think behind the card, to show us that this is a little bit smaller of a card than normal. But I'll give you the dimensions for what I used, and then you can tweak a little bit and see how you want to create yours. Sometimes you have a bigger centerpiece, sometimes you have a smaller, so you will tweak it accordingly. All right, let me pop these off and let me show you what my card is today. I've already used Reindeer Fun on another card, but today I wanted to use that circle shape. Just said to me, use this circle die cut. Now this die cuts an opening rather than a positive shape. So this is what I would call a negative die cut, this garden green die cut, because it creates a window. And so I took that piece, that garden green piece, and I created a window with the die. And I think it's a really cool die. Actually, it works really well for a lot of different things. And then just the layout just really came from there. Just have the deer springing through there again. I love that single deer. He's got so much energy and fun. And then I finished it on the inside, just really simply. I'll show you how I did that as well. So that is my card today. I also wanted to give a shout out to one of my followers, Linda Johnson, and is she here today? Let me scroll. Yes, she is. Yay. She's been a follower of mine for a while, and one of the things I love about Linda is she'll message me after or even during sometimes, and she'll give me like a really practical suggestion on things that she's learned. Like she loves my ideas and tips, but she's got more of her own. And I love that because I'm a super practical girl and I love hearing tips on how to do things better. So first of all, she sent me this cute card. It's adorable. It's not made with Stampin' Up! Products, but I love it. It doesn't have to be made with Stampin' Up! Products for me to love it, but it's a little grateful card. And look how cute the little opening is. I've made a card like this before, but I don't think I've ever made one with that back piece like that. It's super, super cool. I love that. Thank you so much, Linda. And the other thing she sent me was, we've been talking about this and I had no idea what she was talking about. She sent me some floss threaders and I was like, I had no idea what these were. They are for like when you have like dental work, like maybe a bridge, and you need to get that floss underneath, and these are floss threaders. Now, these little guys are amazing, and I already tried it out. I wish I had something on this card today that I would use it with, but they came in this little case like this, and I don't have an ornament here, but you remember my ornaments and how much trouble I had threading that that ornament. Well, these little guys, they are super thin. They are even, this is like even thinner than like a little like my little threader, like that little sewing threader. And you just stick that in the hole and put your thread through there. This loop is so much bigger. So for us that wear glasses and like need lots of light to do stuff, these are brilliant. Brilliant. So, you know, if you don't need these for your dental work and you need to buy a package, I did put down the Amazon link in the description of this video. But the one thing that I would suggest, if you have a bunch of crafty friends and you're making these, buy a pack and then share them with your friends because you get so many of these. And I think they will last for a while. I mean, obviously I haven't used them too much yet, but I did try them out and this works so much better. Like it's not, it's stiff enough, but it's still thin. So it will fit through the hole better than even what I had and pull through really, really nicely. So just thank you so much. That was such a nice little surprise to get those in the mail. And I will use these from now on. They're infinitely better. So very, very cool. All right. I think we should get started. And if I receive cards in the future, Tuesday is the day where I'm going to talk about those. Fridays is such a more busy day with my 3D tutorials. So I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go to my other camera and let's get started. And okay, let me move this out of the way too. Move all the stuffs out of the way. Okay, and I'm sorry for the light again. I'm not even going to try and move my cardboard because it was in probably the best spot it was going to be. So to block most of the light coming this way, I don't know, probably have to put it on an angle to optimize things. But anyway, this is the Reindeer Fun Bundle we'll be using today. There were so many dies, I had to use 2 magnet sheets to get them all on here. There's dies that cut out images in here, and some of them also cut out images in the paper, which I neglected to bring across from the other room, but I did use the Reindeer, I believe it's called the Reindeer Days Designer Series paper on my card. This bundle has all of these pieces, and when you buy them together, you save 10%. So don't buy them separately if you're buying both of them. Okay, we're gonna pop those over here. I wish I had the paper here, but I'll just show you. This is the paper here, and this is some more of the paper. And on one side, there's a lot of reindeers, and on the other side, there's neutral patterns. And I decided to use the neutral patterns so that I could really pop the reindeer. Sometimes what happens when you have a lot of reindeer or something, like you have a lot of the same image that you're stamping, it can overwhelm your stamped image. So I usually like to flip to the more neutral background. If I wanted to create an easier card, then I would use the paper, like the picture side of the paper with all the reindeer on it, and then just add a greeting and maybe some embellishments. The paper is pretty just on its own, but when I want to add detail like this to a card, sometimes it's hard to use the paper with all the side with all the images on it. Okay, I've got a lot of gobbledygook over here. These are some of the dies actually that that you can cut. So I actually experimented when I first got this, because I was like, wait a minute, I didn't realize that this was a window. So you could take this image, if you wanted to create kind of a circular image, you could cut a circle and then put the other die in the center, and you could have a circle if you wanted to, but it's a negative, like this is an extra die, an extra circle die, so you would need an extra circle die to fit around the edge. Okay, let's get started, and let's start from the bottom of the card and work our way up. So real red card base, I'm doing a tent fold, which means the fold is up at the top. Sorry for the brilliant light. Cardstock measures 11 by 4 1/4 and scored in half at the 5.5 inch mark, and then I folded it. Okay. Then to create the banner layer, I create myself a template. I'm pulling this out, and it looks like this. And this will be my template piece. Once I create a template piece, I just trace on my design, or I just cut it right from the template. And then I only need to do the measuring once, and then I don't have to worry about it again. So I'm going to show you how I create the template. I'm going to use just a piece of scrap cardstock, and I will use my scoring tool here, but you can also use your trimmer. So my banner is going to be 5 1/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. Okay, so I just cut it the same size of whatever my banner is going to be, and then I'm going to take this, and I believe the measurement that I decided, I wanted a very shallow banner. So let me just double check. Yeah. So I wanted it only to be about 1/2 inch up. So I'm just going to go ahead and score at the 1/2 inch mark, like that. And then I'll turn that 1/2 inch scored to the top. And this is 2 3/4 inches wide. So the halfway point is 1 3/8. So I'm just going to score the 1 3/8 inch mark up to that 1/2 inch line, like that. Okay, and then I'll take my scissors and I'll line up my point, that corner, to right there. Okay, and I'll just take a moment to make sure it's accurate, and then we'll just cut like that. And then we'll do the same from the other side. This way you can create a banner pretty much of any width. Like if you want it to be more pointy, you could score at the 1 inch mark and then do the same thing. You just need to find the center point of that side. If your banner is wider, say it's 2 inches or 4 inches, just whatever the halfway point is, you score that way. So you can make whatever size banner. And this is nice if you're making a whole bunch of cards and you don't want to have to measure each time. Also, I don't want a score line across here on all my cards, right? So this just makes sense to do a template. So then I took a piece of this paper. Look at the back. It's got little reindeer on it. It's so cute. All right, so I took it and I just overlaid it, same size. It was 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and then I'm just gonna scoot this up just a teeny tiny bit so that I'm actually getting the full 1/2 inch, because otherwise I'm going to be a little bit below the 1/2 inch mark. So now I'm just going to use that as a guide. Come over here on this side and do the same thing. Okay, and so now I've got my shallow banner right there. And then take my scoring board out of the way. I know that I'm not going to do anything else to this. I can glue this on here right away so I don't lose it on my work surface. And we'll just glue it centered on the card base. I'm just eyeballing it. Okay, that looks good enough. All right. Okay, so now we have a bunch of die cutting to do. So we're going to die cut this piece, and I just want to make sure this piece is going to be 3 3/4 by 4 inches. And let me just double check that measurement, because I don't want to give you the wrong measurements. 3 3/4 by 4 inches, and the 3 3/4 inch width is going this way. So we need that piece, and we're going to use this die here on that. And then we're going to do a couple bits of stamping. Okay, so let me grab these 2 stamps. This ruler away, put this away. It's nice to clean up in between, and I've got my little caddy there that helps me with that. Okay, and then we're going to take Memento ink, and let's pop this over here for a second. We're going to stamp the reindeer, and we're going to stamp the little cluster of bells. I lined up that piece of poster board so well, but it's still in the wrong spot. Also, my light is moving. Okay, let's get this stamped. My little reindeer. And then let's do this little cluster of bells. Okay. Let's bring in the die cut machine. We're going to take the big machine today because my width of cardstock is a little bit too wide for the mini machine. So let's grab what we need. We're going to need our base plate number 1, our thin die adapter number 2, our cutting plate. I always use the one that feels flatter on the bottom. And we'll grab our deer, and our bells. And I think we'll use some of this labeling and cover-up tape today. Let's get you cut out. So I just am kind of looking at all the outer, the perimeter, and just kind of making sure I can see a teeny tiny bit of the line. Okay, stick that down, and then we'll do the same for this one. Let's bring this over here. That's good. Okay. Let's go ahead and die cut these. I'm cranking over here off camera. All right. Let's see how we did. We just need to do good enough. Yes, that one's good enough. And this one is also good enough. Okay, perfect. Then I'm gonna grab, I can reuse these little tape pieces, and we'll grab this piece over here. Slide this back here. And remember, I want the shorter side going across, so, oh, we might not need tape. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this. I wanna make sure it's centered, top to bottom, side to side. Yeah, okay, well, since I have the tape, I'm gonna go ahead and use one piece. That looks good. Okay, and let's go ahead and cut this. I think that's all the die cutting we have to do. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, we finished everything, and then I find one more thing to die cut. You know what? I feel like we need to run this through one more time going back. So let's do that. Let's go back and forth and really make sure it gets cut all the way through. Let's have another look. Yeah, I think this is now doing what it needs to do. Sometimes when you look at a piece and you're like, yeah, I don't know if that cut all the way through. If you still have the die in place, just go ahead and put it through. If you find you've got little pieces sticking, just rub your piece with wax paper ahead of time. That helps with releasing the little pieces. This die, though, has not been too problematic with that. It's a detail die, but it's not so crazy that I'm going crazy because there's too many details. Okay, so let's create a backdrop for this card. You could just do white for a backdrop, but I decided that I wanted to do a little bit of pool party in my background. I don't know if you can see that at all. It's hard to see on camera, but there's a little bit of pool party in the back of that. But I don't want pool party cardstock. I did try it with a piece of pool party cardstock, and it was too much, too intense, too blue. I still wanted to have a white area so that my deer would pop, but blue, full-on blue cardstock, it was just too much. So what I did was I cut myself a piece of basic white that is just a teeny tiny bit smaller than this piece. It can be, I did a 1/16 of an inch smaller, but you can do an 1/8 of an inch smaller. So this was a 3 3/4 by 4. You could do 3 5/8 by 3 7/8. But just cut it so it's just a teeny tiny bit smaller. You could cut it exactly the same size, but then you run the risk of perhaps the white showing out from behind here like a little corner. And if you cut it like a little bit smaller, it's just easier to line up the two pieces without that risk. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a blending brush, and I'm going to grab my Pool Party ink pad. So this is the way of getting a little bit of blue in there, a little bit of color, a little bit of interest without overwhelming the background and making it too blue. So my Pool Party ink pad is not super inky right now, which is a good thing, for at least for blending, because you want to kind of go slow. Normally I have a piece of scrap paper. I'll use this scrap piece of paper. you just want to maybe tap off a little bit so you don't have intensity. Or the other thing you can do is just start very lightly. Like, don't really commit to pressing down. And I'm just going to swirl like a circle in here and just kind of put down a little bit of Pool Party without going too intense. I'm shaking the whole table, aren't I? And it's so bright in here today. You probably can't see too much, but there is a little bit of Pool Party on that. And you can test it out. Put this on here. Is it blue enough for you? Maybe not. Let's go in. This time I'm not going to take any color off. I'm just going to start very, very lightly. That way I have enough color to transfer, but I'm not pressing down hard at all. So you'll have to test out the intensity with any of the colors that you use. Some colors, like this is, Pool Party is a very light color. So generally it's not going to transfer too much color, but like say you were doing real red, then you'd really have to be careful because you don't want to go over the top. Okay. So we will now bring this piece in, and what I'll do, I'm going to turn this to the back, and I'm just going to put glue along here. Avoid putting glue. You can put a little bit of glue right on the outside. Don't go all the way to the outside because remember our piece is going to be a teeny tiny bit smaller. Leave this area with the greenery untouched with the glue. And then because this is smaller, what I'm going to do is just put this like this on the back. You can see there's a little bit of an edge all the way around, but nothing's going to be peeking out except where I want it to peek out in the middle. And again, it's a very subtle thing, so you could just go full on white, but you know, I like those little details in the card that add to the card without overwhelming the card, and that is one of those details. Okay, so now we've got our little white pieces. Let's bring in some Stampin' Blends and let's add some color to these. Let's start off with these little bells. I'm going to use Daffodil Delight Dark on these bells. And just to give them a kind of a golden color. And that looks good. And then I'm going to add, this is Wild Wheat Dark. And there's like a little band on these bells. I'm just gonna do that. You know what? Let me bring this in a bit. Okay. So we'll just do a little band. And then for the bow, we're gonna come in with red because that adds a little bit of color to the bow, and it brings back, there is a bird on my window behind me. It is like tapping. I hope it's not a woodpecker. You just never know what they're doing this time of year. I'm pretty sure it's a bird. Okay. So in a second, don't let me forget, I'm going to hit it with a Wink of Stella because I want the little bells to shine a bit. Okay, now we're going to come in with Pecan Pie Light, and we're just going to color the deer. And you can just, with this deer, I've colored this deer a few times before, I think, or at least once before on my other cards. So you can kind of just, you can go back to see how I colored that deer the first time. I think I may have started with my dark that time, This deer was left over from probably from that previous card that I did. And so I was like, I like the way that deer looks. So I just said, okay, I'm going to use that one. That was the easy button for me. I like to keep my extra die cut shapes in my stamp case when I'm creating. Just in case all of a sudden, you know, I need, I'm going to do this light as well. Just in case I need an image down the road, then I've got one already. So I'm just going to come in and do like a tiny bit of shading along the edges a little bit. Just teeny tiny, maybe right there. That was just using my Pecan Pie Dark, and I'm going to blend some of those areas out a little bit with my light. And remember, these are alcohol markers, so they will start off, but they will start off, and then they will kind of blend in after a moment, like they take just a moment to kind of settle, is what I want to say. And now I'm just kind of going over the image one more time in Pecan until everything kind of blends out. So I'm going to take a little bit of this Flirty Flamingo and add it to the ear. If that looks too intense for you, just kind of come in with your Pecan and just blend out just a little bit more of the pink intensity, so it's just very tiny. I left a light spot right at the top of the deer. You don't have to do that. I'm just doing it on this one. That's where the light is hitting the deer. Okay, let's come back with Wink of Stella, and we're just gonna hit the bells with this Wink of Stella. And one of the things with Wink of Stella, and one of the reasons why I don't use it that much, is because since I'm all online, you can't really see it in person. Let's see. Let me see if I can get focused in on me. Focus. Doesn't want to focus. But it will pick up light. So it's very subtle, but once it will pick up reflection, so it will make your bells and other things that should be shiny look shiny. So it's just kind of fun. A lot of people love Wink of Stella. I don't use it nearly enough. So, okay, let's start to assemble our card. We're going to glue this piece onto here. And centering it, I want it a little bit closer to the top than the bottom. So centering it from side to side and just like leaving a little more on the bottom here. Okay. And then I want this deer to kind of be like jumping out of here. So I'm going to tuck those in there, and then, okay. My dimensionals, my big dimensionals are over in Studio One. So we're going to use a baby dimensional, and we're just going to pull this guy out, put one right behind the head. This is my trick for gluing this down, because I don't want to have to put glue in here and then shove this in here. So I can wiggle this around as much as I want. This little dimensional behind the head will give the front of the deer a little bit of lift. And now that deer is not going anywhere because it is glued in place, but yet I didn't have to glue the whole deer. It's still, the legs can still lift up. Okay. And then for this one, and you can use regular dimensionals for this, but these ones are in, the other ones are in the opposite room, and I don't want to use my black dimensionals because this is white cardstock and I don't want it to show through. Okay, so I used 2 regular dimensionals on my original card for the bells, and I just put them, the jingle bells, right up at the top, like that. So then we need to create the little Merry Christmas greeting. And I don't know how long this piece is, but it's 3/8 of an inch wide. So I just cut this off of a bigger piece because it's hard to cut a skinny piece off of a skinny piece. It's much easier to cut like a skinny strip off of a bigger piece. So this is a 3/8 inch wide strip. And I'll grab my Real Red ink pad here. This is a nice Merry Christmas. And I'm just going to ink this up, and I'm going to try very hard to look from the top down and just kind of center this down onto this piece. So you need this piece to be at least 3 inches long. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to snip it apart. And then I'm going to take the Mary, and I'm just going to make it a little bit shorter. Yes, I'm using scissors. It's a very short greeting, so it's pretty easy to eyeball and get it somewhat straight. This Christmas I think is okay because it's a little bit wider than the Mary. You could also cut it if you wanted to. Okay, and then you're just going to lay this on here. If you don't like the location of my Merry Christmas, just move it around. The original greeting for this card was down here at the bottom. But guess what? It didn't work for my card. It didn't look right. So then move your greeting to a spot where it looks good for your card. You don't have to follow the Casing Tuesday sketch exactly. That's the fun part of it. It's like, it's like, how do you get those pieces? How do you puzzle them together and create a card that works for you with your bundle that you're using or with your images? Just don't worry about that. Actually, last night when I made this card, I didn't have a greeting on it. And then this morning I looked at it and I'm like, did I not put a greeting on this card? And I had to go back and think about where I'd put the greeting, because I already had put everything on this card, including the embellishments. And I was like, okay, I want to put a greeting on here. I don't know what I was thinking last night, not putting a greeting on here. So yeah, I redid things. So we'll just add some embellishments. These are really cute. They look like little tiny snowflakes. The iridescent faceted gems, they are very sweet embellishments they've got. I'm going to put it on the card and then bring it right up to the camera. See. Okay, can you see that? The smaller one has like a little kind of a 5-point star on them. And then the larger one has like kind of a 6-point star on it. It's just really, I love these embellishments. They're great. Good for Christmas cards, winter cards, and even other time of the year cards because they are neutral. They remind me a little bit about the my other favorite embellishments that I used to have, and I think they were also they were iridescent rhinestones or something like that. Well, these ones I think are just so neutral, but they really catch the light, you know, and they really look cute. So I also really love those. So there are my cards. Oh, wait, didn't do the inside. Okay, back up. Let's not finish yet. Oh my gosh. Okay, I've got a piece of 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch cardstock. And I've got my greeting that I want to use. So in order to line things up nicely, I'm going to first glue down my little strip. I want to make it exactly like my other card, so I'm going to use it as a template. And if you know me at all, I like to leave a little space to put the person's name up at the top, and then I like to have enough space to write a personal message. Therefore, I do not center my greetings. That's a personal choice, and that's one thing when you're making your own cards. You can make that personal choice of where you put stuff according to how you write cards, not the way the card industry wants you to, or their sensibility about having everything centered. When the card is written on, that's when it's finished in my mind, not just when I'm doing this part, right? So I have to think about, where do I want my greeting to land? Okay, so I'm going to use this greeting. It works well for this. And I'm just going to use that first thing that I've glued up there to be my guide to keep it straight. Okay, so then I can take my second piece. It's easier to do it this way, glue one, do the stamping, and then glue the other, rather than trying to figure out how much space you need to leave. Now you can just eyeball this after the fact and just come in and just go, okay, this needs to be a little further down. I need a little bit of clearance for my R here. And then you just kind of slide that into place until it looks like you're happy with it. And then we'll add that to the inside of the card. And I've been doing this more often now, finishing off the insides of my cards, which I never used to do before, but everyone wants to see the inside of the card because they want to know how to finish it off. And so I'm trying to do that. Also, I started to get a little annoyed with myself, because then I'd go and get to send my cards, because usually the cards that I make on my lives, I also send down the road. And I was getting annoyed with myself for not finishing off the inside of my card right away, because then I would have to finish it off after the fact. And so it's so much simpler. It takes just another extra couple of minutes to do that, and then you already have it done for the future. So I love the reds and greens of this card. It's just fun and cheerful and bright. The deer is super cute. It'd be a fun card to send to grandchildren, children, and even friends. Like, I tend to go towards the cutesy side of things. So I love cute cards. So for me, this would be a fun card to receive. Other people like more serious cards, but this one's a very sweet and fun card. All right. I think I got through that in 45 minutes. That's pretty good, considering we talked about a bunch of things at the beginning. Thanks so much for joining me on my channel today. And if you're not already a subscriber, I would love for it if you would subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of the things I do. I've got 3D things that I do on Friday. Generally, I sometimes throw in a fancy fold card. Tuesdays, I do Casing Tuesday. It's just a very good exercise for your brain to do this, to have a card to start off with, to have a group, our Casing Tuesday Facebook group. You can check it out down below. There's a link in the description of the video. My supply list is also in the description of the video. My link back to my blog. Lots of different links are down below in the description of this video. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment. If you're planning on making this card and you need the Reindeer Fun Bundle, I have a host code this month, and there it is. And if you spend $50, if you buy the bundle, I think the bundle's at least $50. So if you buy the bundle, maybe you want to buy some of the matching paper, use this host code. And if you spend at least $50, my gift for ordering this month is the Regal foiled dots, and those will be mailed in November. So just as a little aside, the other thing I wanted to remind you of is the starter kit special that is happening right now until the end of the month. I kind of like to think of the starter kit special this time of year. It would make yourself a really good Christmas gift because you're getting $155 worth of product for only $99. So that's $56 in free product plus free shipping. So the only thing you're paying for the starter kit is $99 plus tax. And you know, we have to pay tax. Some states don't pay tax, so that's really cool. So if you're in a state that doesn't have to pay tax, then it's $99, no tax. But the starter kit, you get to choose what you put in it. So for that $99 you're paying, you get to choose $155 to put in it. So whatever you want, you just have to keep it under 100 or exactly at 155 or under $155, and then you'll be able to check out. This also gives you access to Stampin' Up. You will be part of my team called the Bee Stampers, and this Friday we have our team stamping night, and so we get together on Zoom and we make a card together, so that's really fun. So just think about it, and if you have questions, first of all, here's a page that has more information, cubiesquest.com/join. Or just go to cubiesquest.com and look for the starter kit link in the menu. And if you have questions, there is my email address, brendaqstamps@gmail.com. I'm always happy to answer your questions. All right, let me put all of this away. And let me say hello to all of you who've joined me this morning. Good morning, Marge from Connecticut. Marge joined my team this month, so I'm very happy she did. We've been communicating for a while. She's been a customer for a while, and she finally joined. So I'm so happy to have her on my team now. Hello, Marty. Hello, Linda. And Marty says, please don't forget to give Brenda a thumbs up. That's really sweet. Thank you, Marty. Good morning, Mary and Louise and Valerie. I have a lot of team members on here this morning, and I love that. And good morning, Linda, and thanks again for the card and the, what are they called? Floss threaders. Amazing. Linda says she just had to move across the living room since they took her recliner for repair, and she doesn't know where anything is. Can't imagine your situation. Hang in there. Well, thank you. Yeah, you know, I was doing fine, and then I think my problem was it's my fault probably. I got busy and I didn't clean up after Friday's live, and I had half my stuff here and half my stuff out over there. And I did 2 project sheets this weekend, and then I was like, okay, I need a diagram for my Sunday project sheet. And so after a while, things just got really crazy. And then I also this weekend we had to choose paint colors. And so I was like, okay, like what paint colors? I had an idea, and then I hauled up my stuff. Some of the finishes, like our vanity is not upstairs yet. It is sitting in our garage. I couldn't haul that up, but I brought up the faucet, like the handle for the faucet. I brought up one of the medicine cabinets, and I laid them all out. It takes a while. Pink colors, you know, you have to kind of research. And yes, I probably should have gotten the peel and stick or done a sample, but I did look at a lot of paint reviews. So I think I'm happy with the colors that I've settled on. I'm using a couple of the most popular Benjamin Moore colors, so usually that's also a good bet when they're in the most popular colors list. So anyway, that's an aside, but I ended up doing some stuff for the reno on the weekend and never got back to cleaning up my room. So this morning I'm like, what have I done? Like, did I not clean up anything here? And it was just chaos. So I'm glad I made it live at 11, like I wanted to, or only an hour late, right? All right. Good morning, Nola from Oregon. Oh, I think Oregon doesn't have sales tax, right? That's a really happy thing, right? Hello, Birgit from Germany. Good morning, Janine, and good morning, Amy from Deer Park. Hello, Holly. Good morning, Deborah from Virginia. Holly says, very cute. Mommy Ruse says, joining late, and she says, good morning for Nebraska. Holly says, I think she wants to get some floss threaders. Louise liked the floss threader trip. See, Linda, you did a good thing. Now see, I didn't even know what they were until she sent me them. I still had no idea what they were and how cool they were. So, uh, Linda says, how about making a cute box to gift them for our crafty girlfriends? Oh, yeah, that would be really cute for the little floss threaders. That would be. I was thinking that you meant the deer bundle. I want to make it, that would be kind of fun. Wouldn't it be neat to do like a box with this opening on it, like as a box? I'm going to think about that. Like, I like negative space boxes, and I know our window sheets right now, I think, are on back order. They're not available right now, but most people have some window sheets kicking around, and then just kind of make a windowed box. That would be so fun. I'm going to think about that. Definitely want to make something with that. Good morning, Adelheid from Germany. Hello, Lynn. Hello, Nancy from Maryland. Linda says she loves the tips. She has difficulty with banners, and this is such a simple fix. It is. And then, you have a template, and you can just, I have a binder where I have some page protectors in it where I tuck in templates that I've made. So then if I want to go back and make the same banner, you can have a page protector just for banner templates, right? Mary Moat says she's late again. Well, I'm late too, so no problem there. Hello, Linda. After the pool party, blending the snowflake embossing would look nice. After the pool party, blending the snowflake embossing would look nice. I don't quite know what that comment means. Sometimes, like when I'm reading something, it's like it's just hitting my mind kind of flat and my brain can't compute. If you want to explain, I will definitely get back to you. Lori says, you're brave with the light spots. I'm always afraid to do that, even though it looks good. You know what? It looks weird to me when I do the light spots, but I've kind of gotten over it because it does look good. Like if you look at this and that, if you look at it and you go, oh my gosh, she just did that wrong. Like no one thinks that, but like somehow you just have to create like a little spot where you think the light will hit and it works. And I've started to get over that. It's like practice to leave a spot blank, especially if you have a lot of room on a colored image. Just practice it. You can leave it blank, and if you don't like it afterwards, then you can fill it in. Or this is something you could do too with light spots, Lori, is take it, make a light spot, and then use a lighter color, like maybe a crumb cake light, and then use the crumb cake light to blend in that spot a bit, so it's not stark white, but it's definitely like a lighter brown. So then you can start to practice and let your eye get used to creating them. I know those light spots, they add, but it's hard when you're doing it because you just think they're wrong. I just had to get over that. Linda asks what I have in the bottom of my glue jar. A bunch of dried glue. Yeah, some of the glue leaks out. Now this is probably the leaked out glue of probably 5, 6, I don't know how many bottles of glue I've gone through since I've cleaned this out once. But then it just starts to like, it's basically, it's just a little bit of extra dribble from the glue. But trust me, this is so much better than closing up the glue and you're just like picking up the glue and it's there right away. I think it's one of the best things for working that was ever taught to me. And I'm not sure who was the originator who keeps theirs upside down, but it saves me so much time to always have my glue upside down. I just grab it and throw it back into the jar, and I'm no longer worrying about capping it. My glue bottle pretty much never gets capped. If I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, yes, I might cap my glue, but otherwise that glue is open all the time. Even if I don't use it for 3 days, it stays like that and I pick it up and it's ready to use right away. It's the weirdest thing ever, but I love it. And I think maybe the glue on the bottom helps kind of create a little bit of a seal too. So yeah, it's just dried up glue. It looks really, like something special though, right? It's not. And Louise explained it to you perfectly. It's the glue gunk at the bottom of the glue jar. Yeah, it's glue gunk. That's it. And I answered your question. Yep, I'll leave that glue bottle open all the time. Basically, it's just open all the time. Linda says it's a great layout, very cute card. Marge says very nice card. And Marty explained, I leave that glue bottle open upside down forever. Marty says she loves the card. Linda says, thanks for the answers. And I repeated all of them. You guys are really great at answering other people's questions. Thank you so much. If I wouldn't get so distracted by reading your comments, I would do them during and then I wouldn't have to backtrack. But this way, I think it saves people who really don't love the chatter in between to just see the video. But who knows, one day I might change it up. But for now, I'm just keeping it this way. All right, Nancy says, so much easier to keep the glue upside down in a jar. I used to fight the cap all the time. I know, it's great, isn't it? Marty says, Brenda's team is wonderful, very kind and welcoming. Thank you for saying that, Marty. I really do try and make everyone feel welcome. Now, not everyone on the team wants to join in all the events, and that is absolutely fine. You find what you need from being on my team. Most of my team is hobbyists. But if you want to join in our online events, you can. And if you don't have to. There's nothing saying you have to join in, but it's there for you if you want it. And we try and make sure everyone feels welcome. That's super important to me. Hello, Catherine. Catherine's also a team member. I love that so many of my team members are on here this morning. Good morning, Joan from Minnesota. Mommy Roo says, cute card. Linda says, thanks for card ideas and box ideas. And she says she loves my videos. Awesome, thank you. Judy says, hello. She arrived late. We'll catch the replay. Pretty card. Thank you, Judy. Marty says she thinks it's been almost a year since I cleaned out my glue jar. Yeah, I can't remember when I did it. I think I just, after a while, I started picking at it one day and then it just slowly kind of rolled it up into a ball and then started all over again. I guess if it got really thick at the bottom, I would probably have to do it again, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing it. It doesn't hurt that it's there. Carol Lee says, I don't know if it's Carol Lee or Carol Lay. She says, Brenda, I love that with each item you create, we'll get some technique lesson. Well, thank you so much. I really try to do that because I still think in the back of my head, I'm like a young person, like a young girl or a girl. And I am trying to teach that person that I was anything that I can, because for the longest time, I felt like I wasn't very strong with art, and I didn't have the practice. And so if someone had taken the time and given me tips, I probably would have dove into art a little bit faster. It's really interesting how when someone pays a little bit of attention to you and gives you a little bit of love and nurtures you, how far you can go. And I think that's a missing element in even in school sometimes. I think growing up, I don't know what year you were in elementary school, but I remember in elementary school, I did not like PE at all because the PE teachers were probably great athletes, and that's why they went to become a teacher or a phys ed teacher, because they were really great athletes. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they tended to favor the kids that already had the great athletic ability. And that was fun for them, but they overlooked those kids like myself that maybe if someone had paid a little bit of attention to me and not made it about, okay, here's the top 2 athletes, let's do a school ground pick of, who's on each team, and then like I would get picked close to last, right? And so it's kind of like that also with art. It's like we all have that ability inside of us, and sometimes we just need someone to show us how to do it. It wasn't that like I didn't have any potential. Maybe I wouldn't have been an Olympic athlete or anything like that, but maybe if someone had said, hey, here's how to throw a ball, and really made the emphasis on, let's really help the people that need help, and maybe make that the focus rather than, these athletes in school, they already had, their extracurriculars where they could shine as stars and stuff. And so I don't know. I get it both ways. Like, when you want different students to excel in different things, maybe some of the athletes didn't excel in other areas and this was their place to shine. So who am I to say they shouldn't have a place to shine, right? But like I think sometimes what is overlooked is everyone's ability. Like we have ability, we just need practice and we need help, right? So when I'm teaching, that's what I'm thinking. I want to show you how to like do things, just so if you were struggling, you have those answers, and hopefully that will make you a better stamper and it will make your life easier, right? So that's why I do all of this. Okay. I'm just reading somewhere. The only thing Marty was good at was dodgeball. That's really fun. Yeah, you're probably quick at getting out of the way or throwing those balls. I thought dodgeball was a little bit like violent, right? Throwing balls at other people. Marge said she didn't like PE either. It was the first subject, so I always made sure I was late on PE days. Yeah, and that's the thing, when we hated those subjects, oh my gosh, some of the gym uniforms we had in our junior high school, oh my gosh, like the shorts were so short, and they were like almost like they were tight. They were not flattering at all. And I was just like, I don't know. It just was not fun. There was nothing fun about PE. But again, I think everyone has a certain ability, and like, it's really nice when teachers can find your strength and show you that you've got some sort of strength in one area, and then that like really lights you up and you're like, wow, I didn't know I had that ability. Kind of like me and art. I didn't know I had artistic ability. And it lights me up now when I make a box and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. I made that. I designed that. It lights me up. And so I wish that's my goal, like a thought for teachers is like, how do you light up your students? Find something about them that lights them up. So, all right. Nancy says she was always picked last. Oh, I know that kind of sucks, right? Like that's not really a fun way to do a pick, you know. Yeah, that was, I don't know why they did that. It just was so humiliating, right? Linda says she teaches piano lessons and it's the same way, giving help and encouragement to students. It comes easy to some and more effort for others, right? Yeah. Oh, that's fun that you teach piano. Marty says it wasn't so bad in grade school, but in junior high school, we had to wear these ugly white one-piece uniforms. Yes, they were so ugly, the uniforms. Not the same. We had little red shorts at our school, but they just, Judy says she was taught growing up that we are never to learn. Really, I'm old now and I still think of that as often as I learn something new. Huh. Linda says her jumpsuit was blue, one-piece bloomers. Oh my gosh, I don't know where they came up with these beautiful, hideous uniforms, right? Oh, Deirdre says, she says, oh, she missed the live and she'll have to watch the replay. Well, we caught you right on the end. I'm glad that you made it. Linda says she had white ones in the 8th grade and snaps for the shirt and double knit shorts. Guys would try to open your blouses. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Jody hated PE and took high school PE and summer school as extra credit since it was a shorter time. That's really smart. That's a great idea. Fair Blue says, she just got here, so she'll watch the replay. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for watching it. Judy says you are great at sharing and to help people create great projects. And she's on that note, well, she says one more thing, never too old to learn something new. And that is absolutely right. Thank you so much for being here today. And I will be back on Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern or a little bit late. But if you're on my email list, I try and send out an email before I go live to kind of give you a notification. But usually somewhere between 10 and 11 is when I actually go live. In my head, I like to think I like to go live right at 10 a.m. all the time. But realistically, life gets in the way in the morning. So try somewhere between 10 and 11. All right, everyone, have a great week until then, and I will see some of you on Friday. Take care. Bye-bye.